15 years, blowing the doors off the competition. Podcasting to planet Earth.
PNRNetworks.com.
Now entering the PNR Networks arena, coming down the aisle from Revere, Massachusetts, weighing in at absolutely none of your business. It's the Mistress of Mayhem, the Queen of Quips. It's time for Ring Around The Rosie with your hostess, Kim Brown.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Ring Around the Rosie. I am your hostess, Kim Brown, aka Platinum Rose Lady, coming to you on Thursday, the 14th of May, 2020, in this brave, new, fucked up world that we're all dealing with. I hope everybody's keeping well and staying safe. There's been a lot of talk about places opening up again and stuff like that, which I guess is good, but I kind of think it's a little too early, but nobody asked me. And I'm not a doctor, and I don't play one on TV or whatever. So, but whatever's going on, we all just got to keep safe and, you know, keep doing things that they say to do, that the doctors say to do. You know, some of us think that some of the people who've been talking about what need to get done, who aren't doctors, need to shut up. But, you know, it's like, I'm just like hoping everybody out there is well and safe. And we're going to just talk about fun stuff now and let the world go on outside the way it is or isn't. And we're going to talk wrestling in here, and that's cool. So, we're going to talk about this past week's Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which was held this Sunday. I gotta be honest, I was really, really worried about this pay-per-view. I was really like, I don't know what the heck they're going to do. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know if it's going to work. And I have to be honest, it wasn't perfect, but it worked. It worked enough that I was really entertained and enjoyed the show a lot. One thing I want to bring up just straight off the jump is the whole thing that the pay-per-view was a lot shorter than a lot of other WWE pay-per-views, and some people have a problem with that and some people don't. I am in the camp of don't have a problem with it. I mean, partially that might be because we actually subscribe to the WWE network, so we get, you get them for free and such because you're paying for it every month. But I just like the fact that, we a couple of WrestleManias ago, it was after midnight by the time it was done. That's nuts. I don't want to start a pay-per-view and then have it be tomorrow, unless the pay-per-view started like at 11 or whatever. And that would be crazy. I was happy. I thought the time was just perfect. I was like, hey, this is really great. Cause then you have time to do like other stuff. You don't have to immediately go get ready for bed or whatever. You have to get up and go to work the next day. I know some people weren't happy with the time, but I liked it. I thought that the amount was just perfect. So, talking about the actual show, which was, this was just really strange. I was really like, I didn't know how they were going to do this. We knew that the matches were pre-taped, and we knew that some of them were going to be taking place. The big Money in the Bank match itself was going to be taking place at the WWE headquarters in Stamford. And the rest of the card was taking place at the Performance Center, which I didn't realize. I was like, oh, okay, what? Sometimes it takes me a little while I'm a little slow on the uptake sometimes, and I admit it. But, I can't help it. I'm the cute one. My husband's the computer genius, and I'm the cute one. So, it's the way it works. So, talking about the actual show, the pre-show, portion was, Jeff Hardy facing Cesaro. this was, I mean, considering the people involved, I'm like, this is on the pre-show. Jeff Hardy going against Cesaro is on the pre-show. Okay. My brain is already starting to cramp. All right. Because I don't know if the word I want to use is disrespectful or insulting or straight up what the fuck. I'm not really sure, but here we are. I mean, the whole thing with Jeff Hardy and this whole road to redemption, blah, 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 blah. I get it. And having him like in the main event or something, I know some people would bitch. I just felt like, wow. And then I'm like telling myself, hey, at least they're both on the card. So let's focus on that. Let's be positive. Terrific match, which is what you'd expect from these two guys because they're crazy hard workers. Jeff used the swanton and got the pin. So the winner of the match, Jeff Hardy. Woo. Jeff Hardy on a completely physical, shallow, this is totally me level. And, you know, A, it's my show. B, I'm a woman. I have needs. Don't judge me. I have to say, Jeff is rocking the fuck out of the dark hair. Because I'm so used to Jeff with the blonde hair. You know, Jeff was the blonde one and Matt was the dark-haired one of the Hardy Boys. But I'm really liking the dark hair on him. I think it really, really rocks. He looks fantastic. He looks terrific anyway. He's in great shape. And I'm just so happy and for him and his family. And I really hope that he's able to, for once and for good, you know, deal with those parts of his life that have caused him and his family pain. So, kicking off the show with the actual show. We had the pre-show. Now we've got the show, I guess we're going to call it that. That sounds like it should be the name of a dog. Show. Come here, show. Anyway, moving forward, I really should have had some sugar or something because I am completely flying on fumes. Anyway, the first match was the match for the SmackDown Tag Team belts. Okay. Championship belts for the tag team division, first match of the... Okay, writers, you know what you're doing. With the SmackDown champions, the New Day, Big E and Kofi, shout out to Xavier Woods, get well soon, going against The Miz and John Morrison, Lucha House Party, the team of Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik, or Metalik, I think is right. And the Forgotten Sons, Steve Coulter, and Wesley Blake, who came to the ring with Jackson Ryder. I have to be honest, I don't know a whole lot about the Forgotten Sons. They're really good, you know, but I was like, oh, okay, so, you know, haven't really known very much about these guys. I'm like, okay, this is, you know, gonna be cool. The match was eventually won by, Big E, who performed his finishing move, the big ending on Grand Metalik. So the New Day keeps their tag team belts. Next up was a match between MVP and R-Truth. And, well, those of us who were going, well, okay, this could get interesting. This went from, this could get interesting to, R-Truth's gonna get obliterated, because R-Truth got on the mic and started insulting MVP, started this whole ballin' thing with like an invisible basketball because reasons. Out comes Bobby Lashley, who says that he wants to face R-Truth instead and tells MVP, I got this. R-Truth, in the middle of his soliloquy, monologue, rambling, I don't know what you'd call it, is making this very grand gesture, lots of hand motion, and winds up smacking Bobby Lashley in the face. This seems slightly unsafe, in the same way that juggling chainsaws would seem slightly unsafe, if you'd never juggled chainsaws in your life. Bobby Lashley completely obliterated R-Truth with a spear and won. So now that brings up an interesting question. So I'm like, okay, so Bobby Lashley won the match. So who gets paid? I'm sorry, it's a perfectly valid question. You're assuming MVP's name was on the contract for the match. Bobby Lashley comes out and wins. Does he get paid? Does he split the money with MVP? Does MVP get the money? This is what actually goes on in my mind. It's scary. I know. It scares me too. The SmackDown Women's Championship was up next with Bayley, the current champion, accompanied by Sasha Banks, because of course she is, was challenged by Tamina. And I really thought, I was sitting there going, is this when it's going to happen? Are we finally going to get Sasha turning on Bayley? Because Sasha seems incapable of not turning on people, and Bayley deserves it because she's a bitch. And won't shut up anymore. It's my whole thing with her, she's just jaw-jacking with Tamina through this match and saying all this stuff to her, and I'm like, are you serious? I'm sorry. Really? This is the hill you want to die on? Pissing off that woman? Really? Wow. Okay. Good for you. But Tamina wound up going for a Samoan drop. She got two of them going okay, and then the third time, Bayley, she tried to get one on Bayley, and she was attacked by Sasha, and Sasha wound up keeping. Sasha actually should have been given the belt because she's the only reason Bayley still has it. Bayley's still the women's SmackDown champion, and I still don't care. So there's that. Following that was the match with the Universal Champion Braun Strowman going against Bray Wyatt. Now this has had a shit ton of lead up to it, because that would make sense, because Braun and Bray have a past. Not like that. Calm down. No, obviously, back when there was a Wyatt family, and Braun was brought into that when they were all a bunch of mask-wearing freaks. Now they're not mask-wearing freaks, they're unmasked freaks, so yay? We'll go with yay. But there's been all this talk, and Bray's been doing his usual mind-fuckery stuff and trying to get in Braun's head and stuff like that. I don't think I'd want to get in Braun's head, because Braun's a big, scary man. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. Mr. Strowman, please don't hurt me. But, the whole thing about their past and Wyatt wanting to bring him home and blah, blah, and that didn't sound creepy. So we get a complete, these are two, big guys, and they're just beating the living shit out of each other. And then, now this was actually interesting because this was Bray Wyatt. It wasn't The Fiend, it was Bray. Of course, it was Bray and his whole deranged children's show host persona, as opposed to The Fiend, which somehow is worse. I don't know why, but it's just worse. Because he's got this whole kind of happy-go-lucky persona that's just seems so happy and stuff like that, and it's not, and it's horrifying, and make it go away, mommy, it scares me. Of course, the thing is, we're in an empty arena with just, the announcers and the refs and all that besides the wrestlers, but we're not alone, because we have, some of the, don't know how to word this. We have some of, Bray's Firefly Funhouse friends showing up. Yay. We have Huskus the Pig Boy and Abby the Witch and, Mercy the Buzzard and the, Ramblin' Rabbit, and I'm like, oh gosh, please, no, shit, no, I don't need this now, please, shit, no. It's like, you realize, it's really weird, because I'm one of these people, I've never had, you hear people talk about coulrophobia, and it's a fear of clowns and stuff, and thankfully I've never had to deal with that. I've also never been afraid of puppets until this fucking angle, and now I'm like, oh fuck, it's the fucking puppets again, shit. So they're out there, messing with Braun's mind and stuff like that. And all through this, while Braun and Bray are fighting with each other, Bray keeps laughing. You know, when they're like hitting each other with these stupidly hard blows, and Bray keeps laughing, and I'm like, oh crap. Bray attempted he got one Sister Abigail off on Braun, tried for another one, that didn't happen. Braun used a choke slam. Running power slam onto Bray, and that was done outside of the ring. Bray got back in the ring. Braun's still outside the ring. When Braun comes up from being outside the ring, he has his mask back, the black sheep mask that he used to wear when he was part of the Wyatt family, because sheep are just so terrifying. Hashtag sarcasm. That's actually normal sheep aren't terrifying. Braun Strowman in that mask, that's terrifying. Also, not for nothing, just side note, people talk about being the black sheep of the family and stuff like that. Nobody ever talks about the sheep in rainbow glitter that's sitting over in the corner, rocking back and forth, grinning at you like it knows your deepest, darkest secrets. Can't see me, but I'm totally raising my hand. Hi! Anyway, so back to the match. So Braun's got the mask back on, and Bray starts laughing like this complete hysterical laugh and all this stuff like that, and he gets in the ring. He's on his knees. Bray's on his knees too, and they like embrace, making it seem like, oh my gosh, you know, Braun's turned back to the dark side, and you know, and Bray's all excited because he's got him back and all this stuff like that. And then Strowman's like, shove, takes the mask off, stomps on it. I'm like, well, if that wasn't a definitive, put the old exclamation point on, fuck you. And running power slam on Bray, so Braun keeps the Universal Championship. And he, you know, gets out of the ring. Wyatt's still in the ring, and the look on his face, it's really difficult to describe, because it was kind of like sad and angry and something else at the same time, and there was a second where we got this image on the screen of the Fiend. I thought it was so interesting that also during this match, the psychology going on in this match is really fascinating, because of the fact that Bray Wyatt, not for nothing, he does really good acting, you know, and in regards to the way he says his lines and all that kind of stuff. In the fact that you had this whole thing where he's hitting Braun, he's kicking him, he's doing all this stuff, and he's screaming at him like shit, like, look what you made me do to you, and all this stuff like that. And I'm sitting there going, wow, that's some really, it's creepy, it's disturbing, it's classic narcissism behavior, you know, I'm hurting you, but you're making me hurt you, you know, and it's so well done. I have to really give it up. It's so well done. The last match before the big Money in the Bank showdown was between, Drew McIntyre, WWE champion, going against Seth Rollins, and this whole Monday Night Messiah angle, which I have mentioned previously that I find extremely offensive, which I realize is probably the whole point, because for some reason the WWE just tends to really love to flip off Christians, which is, you know, okay, that's fine. You know, that's fine. Whatever. So this actually was, not that I was definitely hoping for a good physical match, and that's definitely what we got, without a lot of stalling, which is something that Rollins, when he's a heel, tends to stall like a fuck lot. So that didn't happen in this, so that was nice. We did get Rollins performing a curb stomp nearly got Drew pinned, almost. Tried for another one. Drew used the Glasgow Kiss as a counter move. Shot off the ropes. Seth shoots off the ropes, tries for a super kick, and at the same time he's shooting off the ropes, Drew's shooting off the other ropes, does a Claymore, and manages to pin Seth, keeps the championship. Now, what happened after the match was what I found really, really interesting, in the fact that after the match, Drew's all like, to Seth, he's all like, shake my hand. Prove that you're a leader. Prove that, you prove, he's basically saying, you talk a good game. Let's see how much truth is in it. And I'm like, if he really shakes his hand, I'm going to be so surprised. And I was surprised. Seth shook Drew's hand, didn't grab his hand, pull him in for a move or anything like that, didn't do anything sneaky or underhanded or anything like that. And I was like, well, okay, that was interesting. Wow. So now we're at the main event. Now, the main event of this show, which is what, everyone's been talking about for the last couple of weeks before the actual show itself, was the fact that it was going to be taking place in the WWE's, corporate centers, and the fact that we were doing this basically like a video game is pretty much the way it's done. You had to start at the bottom and fight all the way to the top. Okay. I'm sorry. I was sitting there, that got started, and I'm sitting there going, do, 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 do. My husband's like, would you stop it? Like every 5 seconds I'm doing that, and the whole da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. He's like, I'm really getting ticked now. Because he was also ticked because he couldn't find the music for Donkey Kong, because that was the other thing it reminded us of. Although, to be perfectly honest, I was thinking about it today, and I was going back over the stuff in my head from the show where you had people running all over the place. They missed a perfect opportunity. They should have been playing yakety sax. That would have been great. That would have been absolutely amazing, and I would have laughed my frickin' head off. Google it if you don't know what it is. So, now the other thing that I was like, we're gonna do what now? Is the fact that we've got the men's ladder match for the Money in the Bank briefcase, and we've got the women's match for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Okay. We've had that for, a couple of pay-per-views. We get it. Okay. But this year, we have a little bit of a wrinkle involved, and that is that we're going to have both of these matches going on at the same time. And I'm just the first time I heard that, I swear, I was like doing that whole head tilt dog hearing a strange noise thing. I was like, what? I just, okay. So the women's match involved Asuka, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Lacey Evans, Carmella, and Dana Brooke. And the competitors in the men's Money in the Bank match were AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, King Corbin, Daniel Bryan, and Otis. I thought it kind of sucked that, I was like, oh, Otis isn't in that match and Mandy Rose isn't in the other. Oh, that would have actually been awkward. Never mind. I was like, forget it. So we had the women starting in the lobby. And it was really weird because they introduced they introduced the competitors like two at a time. And then they're just standing there waiting for stuff to start. So we get this person, that person, this person, that person, Asuka. And we're waiting. And we're like, Asuka? Is she still in the bathroom doing whatever the hell she does to get that makeup on? I don't know, but they're like, okay, no Asuka at the moment. Oh, no, wait, there she is. Oh, fuck. Because she's above all of the other women. She's, like, balanced on the balcony above everybody else. And I'm going, okay, Spider Asuka. I'm like, all right. And then she, like, jumps on all of them and we're off to the races. The guys are all in the gym. And, of course, they're in the gym, which is full of weapons. I'm like, no one's picking up barbells and hitting each other with them. Why not? I'm like, damn. Although, Baron Corbin did manage to smash a very big mirror. I think it was a mirror that was like, went into like the other room or something like that. I'm like, that is so much bad luck, bro. Good. That's not nice. I know that. Bad bad me. Otis did use the gym equipment to pin AJ under one of those big, barbell weight things. So that was kind of cool. I would have preferred somebody to get hit in the head just because, I miss ECW and I might be a sadist. Maybe. Oh well. Now we also knew that there were going to be cameos during this match. That made me nervous. I'm going, cameos? We're not talking about the band, are we? I mean, I like Word Up, but, it's not appropriate here. And I'm old. So anyway, moving forward. So everyone dashes out of the gym, and we see Ray running past a men's room, and Brother Love is in there and tells Ray that he loves him. And I'm going flashback, vomiting. Oh no, crap. And we did see him wash his hands, so I was like, well, that's good. So, Asuka managed, now on the ladies' side of things, after Asuka, did her whole jump thing, what the fuck are you doing, you crazy woman? Asuka got into an elevator, and it was, I'm sorry, it was like every single horror movie you ever seen where somebody's pounding on the elevator trying to close the door while the monsters are running at them and shit. That was great. So the other women start fighting up the stairs and stuff like that, which was cool. So we have, but we did have the guys getting into an elevator and they start fighting in the elevator. I'm like, that's not safe. I'm sorry. I realize I'm coming off as a total puss here, but I'm like, you have a bunch of very, big individuals rocking each other back and forth in an elevator. How exactly is that safe? I mean, I've seen the Towering Inferno. I know how shit can go wrong in elevators. If you'd like to know more about films like the Towering Inferno and other disaster films, you can check out Catastrophe Vortex. You can find a link in our website, which is a show that is hosted by my fella TC because he's a disaster movie junkie. How do you like that for a plug? Ta-da! So, they all fight in the elevator. They get out of the elevator and they wind up not running into, but they are all joined for a moment in the middle of this fight by Lacey and Shayna and Carmella. Daniel Bryan starts, kicking the living crap out of Baron Corbin, which really made me happy. And Otis starts doing the whole yes chant, and then Bryan starts attacking Otis. I'm like, rude. That's not very nice. He was cheering for you. And during all of this, right at the end of it, they focus on, now this is in a room with chairs and stuff, like a hallway with chairs and stuff like that. And all of a sudden somebody puts their hands up and they look over one of the chairs from behind one of the chairs, and it's Doink. Doink the Clown. I'm like, oh, sweet fucking calorophobia, no. I mean, it wasn't quite as bad as other times Doink's shown up, but, oh boy, freaked me out. So we have Shayna and Brooke and Nia and Carmella fighting in the one of the conference rooms. Above the conference room table, there is a Money in the Bank briefcase that is full of money. So it's obviously not the right briefcase because A, it's not on the roof, and B, it's got money in it. So what the fuck? Nia gets knocked out with a steel chair thanks to one of the other ladies. Brooke gets on the table and takes the briefcase down and acts like she won. And I'm sitting there going, no. And then we have a cameo from Stephanie McMahon that looked like it was filmed in another room. Possibly in another month or something, 6 months ago. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't that bad. But it was exceedingly obvious that Dana and Stephanie were not in the same room. I mean, look, I'm not an editor. I'm not a professional editor, and I'm not going to tell an editor how to do their job. But this looks like this was edited by someone who never edited anything in their life. And edited this blindfolded. I'm sorry. So Stephanie, somewhere else, tells Brooke that the briefcase is still on the roof, and also tells her to clean up in there because Naya is drooling on the carpet. Thank you for that image. Carmella grabs a poster off of the wall of the room, which is actually the poster showing her winning the first Money in the Bank ladder match for women, and she crashes it over Dana Brooke's head. Terribly meta. Lacey Evans hits Carmella with the women's right, and I laugh like a supervillain because, again, sadist. We see AJ running down a hall. He's looking for Rey Mysterio. He's opening all these doors that will open. Some of them won't open. And he opens this one door, and first of all, he's like looking around. He sees this huge mural of the Undertaker, and it looks like it's like there's one of those shots where it's like the Undertaker staring through your soul, and usually that makes me, I'm sorry, what? What was I saying? Oh, yes, right, fine, AJ, whatever. So AJ's all, like, freaked out about seeing The Undertaker again because, hello, Buried Alive match. And he opens the door to one of these rooms, and it's, like, the room is done in this eerie purple light, and there's a casket, and it's very obvious that he's having flashbacks, as we see them, to the loss that he had in the Boneyard match to The Undertaker. In a move that I was like, that's really evil, and I like it. Aleister Black comes up behind AJ, grabs him, shoves him into the room, and, shuts the door. I don't know if he locked it. I couldn't tell if he locked it. And oh my gosh, I wanted to see what was going on inside that room so badly because it would have probably involved AJ pounding on the door and wetting his pants. And I would have again laughed like a supervillain. I think they kind of dropped a ball there with having something happen in the room. That's part of the thing I was kind of like, oh, we didn't get to see what was going on. Damn. We get to another part of this whole fiasco where, we see, now the people we haven't seen yet during this part are AJ and Asuka. And we're in a room that's got this big table full of, laden with food, and Paul Heyman sitting there at this table trying to get something to eat. And goodness knows there was enough stuff to choose from there. And all of the combatants, minus AJ and Asuka, show up in the room at the same time, and you can guess what happened next. There was this big food fight started by Otis, and I mean, there was a lot of food thrown around. And so help me, Hannah. The only thing going through my head was all I could hear in my head is my dear sweet mother's voice going, children starving in China and they're throwing food around. I love you, Mom. Missed you so much. Poor Rey Mysterio deserves a medal or sainthood or something, because not only did Shayna Baszler catch him in the, Kirifuda clutch, which looked painful, then he winds up getting, smushed in between Nia Jax and Otis, who both ran at each other, and Rey wound up in the middle of them. Rey, seriously, I don't know where one would apply for sainthood, but you might want to think about it. Just a thought. Carmella was thrown through the buffet table by Nia, and we had a face-off between Nia and Otis, and I'm like, oh, no, please, oh gosh, this could be really bad for both people, I don't know, and Otis grabbed some food and left. We see Otis go into another place that's obviously right off of the room we've just been in, is the cafeteria, and he throws a pie in John Laurinaitis' face, and it's a waste of a good pie, dude. And angels cry when that happens, We have AJ, who's finally showed up again, and he and Daniel start fighting in the hallway, and they're fighting, and they're just, bashing the crap out of each other, and they wind up fighting, and I'm going, hey, I know where that, because we're like in Vince McMahon's office. Because I was like, oh, there's that big dinosaur skull. Hey, isn't that Vince's office? Hey, that's Vince. Oh, fuck. I was like, because the funniest thing, this to me was the thing that absolutely fucking made this show for me. Because I don't know the last time. I mean, all of us, through all of this stuff that's been going on with the virus and all the other things that have been going on, we all need a good laugh. And this part cracked me up so bad. I was almost crying. I was laughing so hard. Like I said, AJ and Daniel are punching the crap out of each other in Vince's office, and Vince is at his desk, and he's just kind of watching this, and AJ and Daniel finally realize where they are, and honest to blog, the two of them are standing there like two little kids that have been roughhousing around the house and rolled into Dad's den. And Dad's like, what the fuck? That look. They've got this look. The two of them have these looks on their faces like shamed 8-year-olds. And Vince tells them to get out of his office. I kind of don't blame him. And the thing is, I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. They start walking toward the door. Daniel Bryan actually bowed a little bit at one point during all of this walking toward the door stuff, and I almost cried. I was laughing so hard. But AJ kind of looks at him and kind of like makes a motion or kind of says something very softly. They walk back and they fix the chairs that they knocked askew during their fight. They fixed the office chairs in Vince's office. And I'm sorry, I just could not stop laughing. Then they get outside, and AJ's all like talking to Daniel. He's talking all this smack, and he's like, oh, you were such a coward and all this stuff like that. And Daniel's like, you're the one that wanted to fix the chairs. And AJ's like, yeah, I did. And they kind of stand there for a second, and then they just start punching each other. And oh my gosh, I was like, I just can't even. I was laughing so hard. I was laughing so wicked hard. If for nothing else, this pay-per-view actually made me laugh for what seems like the first time in a really long time. And thank you for that, WWE. I'm serious. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. So now we're on the roof. And no, I'm not going to do the rest of it. And the roof wasn't on fire, so settle down. Asuka's the first one to make it to the roof because apparently all this time she's been in the elevator. I guess. I don't know. I'm completely like, how long is that elevator? How slow is that elevator? What the hell? So she's up. She's made it to the roof, and Naya's right after her, and Lacey's right after her. So they start slugging it out all around. They're in the ring, they're out of the ring, and it's just complete pandemonium. Asuka grabs one of the ladders, and there seems to be somewhere in Stamford, Connecticut, there is the happiest Home Depot or Office Max or whatever, because they sold them every motherfucking ladder they had in the store. Asuka grabs the ladder, one of the ladders, drops it on Naya. She then fights with Lacey on the ladder and then throws Lacey off the ladder on top of Naya. So we've got that. So Asuka's climbing up the ladder to the briefcase. Baron Corbin makes it to the roof and gets up on the other side of the ladder, and he's swatting at Asuka, trying to keep her from grabbing the briefcase. I'm like, you really are that fucking dumb. I mean, besides looking like a Game of Thrones cosplayer and failing, you are that dumb, because there's 2 briefcases, and what are you going to do with the ladies' briefcase? You going to challenge for the ladies' belt, Baron? I'm like, what? Finally, Asuka got done with his foolishness and just threw him off the ladder, and again, I laughed and applauded, and I would have shot off fireworks if I had any, but we were in the house, so that doesn't work. And Asuka grabbed the ladies' briefcase, so now Asuka was the winner of the Money in the Bank ladder match for the women, so she can now challenge. That will get, that's going to get changed over the next night. So now we've got the men's stuff to deal with. Otis was the next person to get to the roof and was followed closely on his heels by Alistair, Ray, AJ, and Daniel. Now this is the part that I was like, okay, we're really gonna sell this? We really are? Baron Corbin first grabbed Ray, threw him off the roof, then grabbed Alistair Black and threw him off the roof. Now when I say off the roof, I obviously don't mean off the roof as in off the roof, watch that first step, it's a doozy kind of thing, down to the pavement. Because anybody who's looked at the WWE's building, the corporate headquarters, can see that they have a roof, and then there's the top of the building, then there's, a drop, and then there's the second roof, I guess is how you'd word it. So they fell from that, and that would have been an uncomfortable fall, but it wasn't falling like to your death, which, you had people saying online, Baron Corbin killed them, blah, blah, blah. No. Even the most markish fan would know, no, he didn't. Because for one thing, you heard them hit you heard them hit something. I'm like, you couldn't have heard that if they hit the pavement, trust me. AJ did the phenomenal forearm onto Otis, and AJ and Baron Corbin each started climbing the ladder. On top of the they're up at the top of the ladder and they're still fighting. The briefcase gets unhooked with both Baron Corbin and AJ holding onto the ladder. I'm like, oh no, how are we going to do this? We can't cut the ladder. We can't cut the briefcase in half. Can we? We could if you had a chainsaw and some free time, but I don't really see what that's going to do. But then somebody showed up that nobody had seen all night long because they weren't part of the show until now, when Elias, who has been feuding with Baron Corbin, showed up and smashed Corbin with a guitar. So this happens. That causes AJ and Corbin to both drop the briefcase, which fell, and Otis caught it. So because Otis caught it before it hit the ground, he won. Say what? What? I'm like, okay, I guess. Yay? So Otis is the Money in the Bank champion on the men's side and can request a title shot whenever he wants. Again, what? I'm like, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I'm thinking back to other Money in the Bank matches where people, or just your general ladder match, where people have unhooked the belt or the briefcase or whatever, and the second they did it, they win. Did I miss a memo or something? Did that rule change? Because apparently it changed, because now Otis wins the belt, the match, the briefcase, and all that, and the internet explodes, again. Okay. I had fun. I had fun watching this show. I honest to goodness did. I really did enjoy it. And after all of the craziness that's going on, it just felt good to have a show where it was just like, besides the fact that there were a lot of interesting moments in between really good wrestling moments and some moments where I flat out laughed my head off. It was just fun. It was a fun show. I enjoyed it. And, I'm gonna give it I'm gonna grade it, I'm gonna give it a B-. I'm gonna give it a B-. Simply because there were a few things I wanted to see happen that didn't happen. I, honest to goodness, and you can really call me a sadist if you choose to. I really wanted to see AJ freaking out in that Undertaker room. I also don't remember Alistair Black locking the door, which I thought was like, oh, they should have made a bigger point of showing him locking the door. I remember seeing him slam the door shut, but I don't remember seeing him lock it. So there's that. I want to know what happened with Asuka, why it took Asuka so long to get up to the roof, other than the fact that it just made sense storyline-wise, but I guess I'm asking for too much. But I would definitely give it a B-. The next evening on Raw, we had Becky Lynch come out to the ring, and she came out and said that she was going to be going... For one thing, she came out to the ring with the briefcase, the Money in the Bank briefcase. I was like, okay. And she made the announcement that she was going to be taking a hiatus from the ring, which brought Asuka out. And Asuka was told by Becky that because of Asuka's win at the Money in the Bank ladder match the night before, she was going to win. She actually was the new Raw Women's Champion. She was the winner of the belt. Becky opened up the briefcase. The briefcase had the belt in it. She gave the belt to Asuka and then said that the reason that she was doing it is because Becky Lynch is pregnant. Wow. I was completely like, what? I lost it. I completely lost it because babies, and I'm so excited. I'm so happy for Becky and for Seth. And I'm so thrilled for them. I wish them nothing but the best, and I wish her an easy pregnancy, and, that everything goes well, and that, I hope that you guys have a healthy and happy baby, and have a healthy, happy, wonderful, happy life together, because babies! I'm so happy for them. I'm super duper excited. Other news, obviously the other thing the internet has been talking about a lot today is that the WWE has stripped Sami Zayn of the Intercontinental belt because he has not appeared on television and such, because he recently had some surgery, doesn't want to go back right now because of the whole COVID thing, which is, I understand it. I also understand where they're coming from with stripping him of the belt, It's not a popular decision with certain people, but it is what it is. Let's see, what else can we talk about here? This week's episode of Dark Side of the Ring was really powerful, really amazing, talking about the Road Warriors and talking about how, there were a lot of problems there toward the end, the whole issues with Hawk and his addictions, and WWF at the time's brilliant #sarcasm decision to do this whole, have Hawk be on TV drunk, quote, quote, and the whole attempted murder of Hawk by Draws shoving him off the Titantron. Basically, it was a masculine version of All About Eve. I mean, look it up, you'll know what I mean. And I remember thinking back then, I was watching it and going, wow, I remember when this happened, and it was wicked fucking distasteful back then, and seeing it again makes it that much fucking worse. It was just so weird seeing all that old footage. It was just so strange. It felt nice, to see it, some of it, especially the Road Warrior stuff where they were, having a good time, beating the crap out of people and stuff like that. That was awesome. I miss Hawk. I miss the Road Warriors. There's never going to be a team like them. They were one of those, they were one team that back when wrestling used, I refer to it as proper music. Y'all know what I mean. When you have, back before, things turned out the way they turned out, where you have all this, not real music, stuff that's written for wrestlers and stuff like that. Back when people used songs you recognized, back when the Freebirds used Freebird, Lynyrd Skynyrd's Freebird, or Kerry Von Erich used Rush's Tom Sawyer, or in the NWA, you had the Road Warriors, and actually in the AWA as well, you had the Road Warriors using, Black Sabbath's Iron Man, and the minute you heard that opening guitar riff, you were like, oh shit, someone's gonna get the fuck beat out of them. And that's what the Road Warriors did. They were big, scary guys, and they beat the shit out of people, and it was awesome. It was just awesome. And it was so cool to see that stuff again. It was just amazing to see that. Next week's episode of Dark Side of the Ring is the season 2 finale, and oh fuck, this is gonna be hard. It's the episode dealing with Owen Hart and the death of Owen Hart at the Over the Edge pay-per-view, which was one of the most horrifying 2 days ever. As a wrestling fan, as a human being, and, just dealing with it. And I can't even imagine what his family still goes through. So that's going to be next week on Viceland, and it's going to be tough. Bring tissues. Lots of tissues. Moving over to AEW, real quick. The pay-per-view is coming up later on this month in AEW on a Saturday, which is going to be great. The 23rd, that'll be fun. I can't wait because I think that they put on great shows, and I'm going to really, really be excited for this. And I'm really going to be excited watching Jungle Boy kick the living shit out of MJF. Because if that doesn't happen, I am not going to be pleased. I was really not pleased last night as it was. Because I love Jurassic Express. I think they're amazing. And when they get fucked out of a match, I get pissed. And when I get pissed, I break shit. No, I don't. Because you can't do that. Because, it's kind of, you got to act like an adult and all that stuff like that. Blah, blah, blah. Blech. But looking forward to the AEW pay-per-view. Definitely looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to next week's match on AEW Dynamite with Marco Stunt going against MJF, because I really want Marco to win, because I just do, because Marco is amazing and awesome and just an awesome human being, and I think he's fantastic. And I think that's going to do it for this show. I think I'm going to wrap things up here, cats and kittens, because I've wasted enough of your time, probably. If you have any questions, comments, queries, complaints, money, chocolate, anything you'd like to send my way, whatever, platinumroselle@yahoo.com. If you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at platinumroselle@twitter.com. And I hope that you will check out the t-shirt that is available that has been graciously done by a friend of ours, a friend of the show. That her artwork is amazing. You can look for a link to that on our webpage. And you can check out all of the other sites and shows and such that are part of our little island of misfit toys. And we work really hard on them just to give you guys a laugh and a smile and something to think about and something to talk about and something to watch. We're doing a show right now during the lockdown called Captive Audience Theater, where TC and I are watching terrible movies that are terribly funny, usually, that you can check out because they're so bad they're hilarious. And I just want to say before I head on out that I am thinking of you, and I am sending you all really positive thoughts and really positive vibes. And we are getting through this all together, as not just as a city or as a state or as a country. We are getting through this as a planet. We have to look at it that way. We have to look at it. It's not us and them. We're us. We're all of us, because we're actually all each other has at the end of the day. We really are. If you are in a place mentally, emotionally, where you need help, reach out and talk to somebody. There's a ton of places you can go online to find people to talk to. If you need to talk to somebody, if you need to share how you're feeling, there's people that out there that will talk to you and listen to you and help you find a way to deal with things, I know right now is a really scary time, and I just want to send out my own little drop of positivity out there to everybody, that I'm thinking about you. I love you. I hope that your day tomorrow is better than today was for you. And that tomorrow is a great day for all of us. And This is Kim Brown, aka Platinum Rose Lady, signing off for another week here on Ring Around the Rosie, reminding you to take some time and stop and smell the roses, or at least look at them. If you can't smell them because they're outside and you can't go outside, at least look at them because they're pretty. I love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to Ring Around the Rosie with Kim Brown, a production of PNR Networks. Keep in touch with all things about the show at http://ringaroundtherosie.net. Ring Around the Rosie intro performed by Eric Lyon. Ring Around the Rosie theme by Digital Juice. Join Kim for a new Ring Around the Rosie every Wednesday. Ring Around the Rosie is copyright 2018 PNR Networks, Boston, Massachusetts, USA.
15 years, blowing the doors off the competition, podcasting to planet Earth.
PNRNetworks.com